From O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? What's on today's episode? We're going to be talking about the latest Raiders news and rumors, and we're also going to be talking about some of the biggest stories going on right now in the National Football League. But right here, these are my main talking points. Raiders, are they interested in JuJu Smith-Schuster? I'm going to tell you the latest on this story and how likely it is that he's going to be wearing silver and black. Are the Washington football team trying to trade for DC? Russell Wilson, Orlando Brown, how likely is it that the Raiders try to pull off trades for these two players? And at the very end of today's show, I have something so hilarious that I literally laughed out loud when I saw it happen. So maybe you should be watching this episode on the toilet just in case you pee yourself. Let's get into the first story here. It's around the Raiders and JuJu Smith-Schuster, and are they interested in him? I'm going to give this one two chalky heads, and people are talking. The rumor is from John Clayton. So yesterday, Clayton was on 93.7, The Fan, which is a radio station in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he went out and said that the Raiders are, quote, very interested in signing soon-to-be free agent wide receiver JuJu Smith-Schuster. Now, Clayton also went on to say that, JuJu grew up a Raiders fan. He also was like, I think that he grew up a Raiders fan. And he also brought up multiple times where, you remember about a month ago, a month is probably a stretch, 2 weeks ago, JuJu was on a Twitch stream, and he was saying, hey, there's all these other teams that could be potential fits for me. And he also said that the Raiders, well, they would be a nice fit. So, would it be a nice fit? Probably if you had all this types of money, but before I give you my 2 cents on whether or not the Raiders should go out and make this move, I do also want to say this. I get the idea that John Clayton has a blue check mark. I understand that. However, when you really follow what he's been doing over the last 3 years since he's been let go by ESPN, he's been very hot takey, and a lot of the things that he said, they just simply have not been true whatsoever. So I want you guys to, always be watching the show, understanding the truths, the false. That's what this show is about here. So I understand that Clayton said that the Raiders are very interested in going out and get JuJu. I just find it hard to believe that Gruden, Mike Mayock, would ultimately end up doing it. So sorry, John, I don't really believe you. Now, if you guys do want to find out some players that the Raiders could go out and sign in free agency, I made this video on Wednesday this week. I broke down my top 10 players that the Las Vegas Raiders should target on offense. We know that defense is the main focus, but offense also needs a little bit of attention too. Just another reason to hit that big red button that says subscribe. All right, so comment below here. We're talking about JuJu. I'm about to tell you how much I want the Raiders to go out and bring him in. But before I do, should the Raiders sign JuJu Smith-Schuster? I want you to either type, yes, Mitch, they absolutely should. Or, if you're kind of in agreement with me, I want you to type bad JuJu. So stay away from JuJu Smith-Schuster. For Chucky heads, believe it, baby. He's a fun, young receiver. However, he isn't a true number one receiver. I have said that multiple times on this show. I've said it multiple times on our NFL daily shows at Chat Sports. He's a good receiver. He's not worth $17 million a year. When I look at all the reports out there from, insiders in Pittsburgh, they're saying that that's the number he's going to look for. When I look at Spotrac, they're saying, okay, he could look for 17. When I look at Pro Football Focus, they're saying he's going to ask for $16, $17 million. No disrespect. I'm not going to pay that. Plus, haven't we learned our lesson with enough Pittsburgh wide receivers? I'm not just talking about Antonio Brown. JuJu's a fun player, but I don't want to see guys doing stupid dances on other logos and then he gets absolutely laid out and gets hurt. I don't need that. Plus, who else remembers Martavis Bryant? So this is what JuJu has done, right, throughout his entire career. And it started out really, really good, right? Because this is a receiver who, a lot of times when you get receivers, you learn the name, and then that boosts up their value. His first 2 seasons were spectacular, especially in 2018. 111 catches, 1,426 yards, 7 touchdowns. And then he became the number 1 wide receiver on the Pittsburgh Steelers once Antonio Brown left. So think about this. The next 2 years that you see, 2019 and 2020, are the years of him realistically being the number 1 receiver on Pittsburgh. But there were also games this year in 2020. Sure, he put up 97 catches, but 8.6 yards per catch. Was all of that for his blame? No, a lot of it was on Ben Roethlisberger. But there were multiple times where, twice actually, that JuJu didn't even start this year. He was outplayed by Claypool and outplayed by Johnson, their other young receiver, Deonta Johnson. Shout out to producer Sam. So when you look at their 4-year average here, right, 4-year average stats, is this the type of production, and it's about 14 and a half games per year, if you will, is this the type of production you're going to go out and spend, or you're going to go out and pay a guy $17 million for? No disrespect. No, it's not even close. And when I look into the other top free agent wide receivers, JuJu does crack my top 5. But if money's not an issue here, then why not just go out and spend on Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, Kenny Golladay, or Will Fuller? The biggest reason why I have all these issues is because you're spending money at a position that's not really your biggest need. If you're going to spend $17 million, spend it on defense. If you're going to spend it on one guy, go out and throw money at a guy like Leonard Williams instead, not JuJu Smith-Schuster. Now, if you do want to bring in a wide receiver, I'm okay with that. Here are my top 3 players that I'm going to go out and really try to get. Allen Robinson. If you want to spend big, I'd rather spend $21 million on Allen Robinson every single day of the week before I spend $17 million on JuJu Smith-Schuster. If you want to go with a receiver, that's, I think probably the best bang for your buck. Curtis Samuel at 8.3, and then Nelson Agholor. By the way, the numbers that you see on screen are the projected salaries that Pro Football Focus has put out. I'm a believer that Nelson Agholor is going to get a little bit more than this, probably $9-10 million range, but for Pro Football Focus' sake, we'll put these numbers up on screen. So if you had to pick one receiver to sign, who would you do this, right? Like, who would you pick? Would you sign Allen Robinson? I want you to type AR for $21 million. Would you sign Curtis Samuel for $8.3 million? Type CS. Maybe Nelson Agholor for $7.5 million, or would you go out and sign JuJu Smith-Schuster for $17? If these values are what I'm faced with, I'm going to end up just bringing back the guy who just had over 850 yards on our offense, probably should have had 10 touchdowns. I'm going to end up typing NA. All right, more news, or what the hell am I doing? News and rumors here on the Raiders Report. It's Thursday, right? It's 5 o'clock somewhere. The report out there right now is that the Washington football team tried to trade for Derek Carr. That's for Chucky heads, believe it, baby. They called him up, the Raiders that is, and tried to see what the overall asking price for Carr was. The Raiders have been looking for 2 first-round picks, at least for Derek, and no NFL team is willing to give up that. So with all that being said, the Raiders, they don't want to trade Derek Carr at this personal time, and the only way that I've said before that if they do trade him, you better go out and get a top quarterback like Deshaun Watson. So here's the quote from David Carr on the Raiders trading his brother, basically. So teams have called and have offered and have been told no. I thought it was funny. I saw on Twitter, people were like, how does David know? What's his source? What do you mean what's his source? I can already tell you David Carr's source. It's his brother, Derek. Now, if Derek is traded, I will be very, very surprised. But one of my jobs here at Chat Sports is trying to break down where we think certain players are going to go if they are traded. Whether you like it or not, it's part of the business. And I had to make a video about Derek Carr's trade destinations, the top teams that would go out and trade for them. The Washington football team is on this list. Now, if you guys haven't already subscribed to Chat Sports, please do. We're over 230,000 subs there. We go live Monday and Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. It's a fun and interactive channel just like the Raiders Report. But we talk about, guess what? All things NFL. So hit the big red button, or you can go to youtube.com/chatsportstv. If you support the Raiders Report and you support me, I would really, really appreciate it if you also subscribe to our main Chat Sports channel, because without them, believe it or not, there's actually no Raiders Report either. So one more time, youtube.com/chatsportstv. So let me know. I want you to go down in the comments section here, right? The Raiders Report, are we the #1 most watched Raiders channel on YouTube? Yes, but it's because of the community that we've been able to build here, right? It's the incredible fan base that Raider Nation is. So I want you to go down in the comments. Let me know how many years that you've been a Raiders fan and how long you maybe have even been a subscriber, because I haven't worn this jacket in so long. And when I first started doing the show, I used to wear it every single episode. Now, if you have been a Raider fan for your entire life or maybe just a few months, hit me up on IG. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. I'm always trying to talk to you all about what's going on around the Raiders. I'm always posting stuff on my story about anything that I'm tweeting or what's going on in my life. So if you guys want to get to know me a little bit better, you ever want to talk Raiders, you want to ask me some stuff, hit me up on IG, Mitchell Renz 365. All right, let's get into my next story here around Russell Wilson. And here's a quote from Jason La Canfora on the Raiders trading for Wilson. They check basically every box. I believe Mark Davis, if he puts his mind to it, can pull it off. So are the Raiders going to go out and trade for Russell Wilson? You're going to have to wait, because today's show is presented by Pro Flowers. If you guys need something special for Valentine's Day, don't wait any longer. I mean, we're already here, February 11th, guys. Chatsports.com/flowers to get the nicest flower arrangements you could possibly find. Maybe she has a sweet tooth. Go ahead, You can get her some chocolates. These are chocolate-covered donuts on a stick. I mean, if that doesn't sell you, I don't know what will. Maybe, I don't know, she doesn't have a sweet tooth, and she wants something for the bubble bath, or she wants a charcuterie board. All those options are there as well. So it's not just flowers. It's a whole bunch of different kinds of gifts. If you want to get flowers and chocolate, there's a 99% chance that that's an absolute slam dunk. I'm going to put this link, which is going to be available for y'all in the comments and in the description. 15% off everything, chatsports.com/flowers. All right, so let's get into this story here around Russell Wilson. And is he going to the Raiders? No. Tuck rule, tuck that. It's been so long since I've had a tuck rule, tuck that. I'm going to say it twice. Tuck rule, tuck that. The rumors from Jason La Canfora about basically like the Raiders could be the top team for Wilson. Let's just be honest here, guys. Russell Wilson is not going to get traded. He's been saying that he's a little bit upset about the offensive line. Well, no crap. He's been hit and battered for basically his entire career because I've never put a good offensive line around him. Now, there's reports out there that the Seahawks are upset with Wilson. Russell Wilson just won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. I mean, he is a great human being. He is everything that Seahawks team needs. But here's the other thing. We've been talking a lot about trades. If you are going to pull off a trade that's probably going to cost you at least 3 first-round picks, why not just do it for Deshaun Watson, right? Like, I'm not saying that you should ultimately do it. If you trade Derek Carr, you better get Deshaun Watson. But why would you trade for Russell Wilson when it's probably going to cost you just as much, if not maybe a little bit more, for a 32-year-old quarterback compared to a 25-year-old quarterback? So, like, I get that it's an NFL rumor. The reason why I'm bringing it up on the show is because I get so many DMs if a story breaks. Mitch, should the Raiders do this? No, the Raiders should not go out and trade for Russell Wilson. So I do want to ask you this question, though, okay? If you were willing to go out and give up all these picks, would you get Wilson or would you rather get Deshaun Watson? Who's the better quarterback? If I'm saying the better quarterback for just this year, 2021, I might actually type Russell Wilson. However, the better quarterback for the Raiders the next 10 years, because that's what you're looking at when you pull off a trade like this, I'm going to type my DW for Deshaun Watson. Next story here is around Orlando Brown, and are the Raiders going to trade for Orlando Brown? I'm going to also say zero Chucky heads, tuck rule, tuck that. I understand the reports out there that Brown, he wants to be traded, and then from everything that it sounds like, the Ravens have said, okay, if you don't want to play right tackle for us, you can go ahead, play left tackle somewhere else. Now, he did do a very good job this year filling in for Ronnie Staley, and the Ravens, they're going to have a high asking price. Like, people are like, oh, Mitch, why not just trade Trent Brown for Orlando Brown straight up? No offense, that's just not a realistic option. Orlando Brown, the Ravens are going to ask for a first-round pick. And Trent Brown, he ain't worth that. So I get the fact that the Raiders, they're going to cut Trent Brown, and that's going to leave an opening at right tackle, okay? No doubt about it. Now, you could swing Orlando to the left, and that's where he's going to play, and put Kolton Miller to the right tackle spot. I mean, that's absolutely a possibility because that's what Kolton Miller used to do, right? However, why would you trade a first-round pick when you could just go in free agency and sign a talented player? I mean, I'd actually probably rather have Taylor Motton, to be honest with you. I think Taylor Motton is a phenomenal right tackle. Darrell Williams. Now, Alejandro Villanueva from Pittsburgh, he's more of a left tackle, but he is also an amazing human being. He's near the end of his career, sure, but it doesn't cost a draft pick. Like, that's all I'm trying to say. Like, the offensive line, it's an issue. But if you take away that first-round pick, then you can't use it on defense. So save the picks for defense and then go out and sign one of those guys in free agency. That's all I'm saying. That's why I'm also giving this one zero Chucky heads, tuck rule, tuck that. Now, the funny story that I was referring to is this. Paul Guenther, baby. He's back. No, not with the Raiders, but he's back in the National Football League. Remember, the Raiders, they fired Guenther after a 44-27 loss to the Indianapolis Colts after three miserable years in Oakland and in Las Vegas. And the Minnesota Vikings, they went out and hired him to be the senior defensive assistant for Minnesota. Now, he worked with Mike Zimmer for 6 years back in Cincinnati. Apparently, multiple teams were interested in Paul Guenther, which I just find very, very hard to believe. So I'm going to leave you with this because I literally laughed out loud when I saw that Guenther got another job in the NFL, because there's so many other NFL coaches out there that somehow either didn't get hired or didn't get head coaching positions and just continue to get hired. And I think it's just more of this like old man's club. How does Paul Guenther get a job after how bad he was the last 3 years? So be honest with me. And remember, if you curse, sometimes YouTube blocks it. So let's try to be a little bit adultish here. What's your one-word reaction to Guenther going to the Vikings? Throw it down in the comments section. And one more time, go to chatsports.com/flowers. 50% off, or else, well, your girlfriend might be giving you the boot, just like the Raiders did with Guenther.